Because when I found this truth, guess what happened? I put my birthday away. When I found this truth, I put the drugs away. When I found this truth, I quit whoring my sisters. When I found this truth, I started becoming a better man and a better person. Because now I know I'm on that narrow path. Now I know I'm on a righteous path. Now I know what I'm doing is going to get me somewhere.
Yeah. 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 Ain't nobody crying loud no more. Streets too quiet. Feel like God closed the door. Used to hear the truth in every corner. Now it's war. Now I ride through the block like where the prophets go. I miss your voice. I miss your voice. I miss your voice. Used to echo through the pavement. Preaching truth, not entertainment. Now the corner's vacant. Used to hear repentant die. See destruction on the rise. All the ruins went inside. Miss your voice. See, I was crying for the nation. Warning us by damnation. Laugh while I was hating. Now I see floods, fire, war. Ain't nobody teaching no more. The world done changed when y'all left the door. I miss your voice. You supposed to write there on Saturday. Seen the prophets like the front of us. Probably in they hands speaking heat like it was gun time. They ain't care who hated them. They love us more than comfort. Warning all the gangs. They even preached to baby mother. Told us Babylon would burn. And now it's matching every vision. Told us trust the most high. And not the system of religion. They ain't asked for nothing back. They just crawl out up in them trenches. And now the silence got me anxious. Like a trumpet missing pictures. Oh, I miss your voice. Need you now. I miss your voice, used to echo through the pavement. Preaching truth, not entertainment. Now the corner's vacant, used to hear repentant die. Now it's just shots and sirens fire. Looking at destruction on the rise. All the real ones went inside. I miss your voice, y'all was crying for the nation. And warning us by damnation. Laugh while y'all was hating. Now I see floods, fire, and war. Ain't nobody teaching no more. The world done changed when y'all left the door. Miss your voice. Remember seeing fringes in the summer heat. Scriptures flying faster than the gossip on the street. Keep the laws and repent. Man, them niggas say that with their chest. People stay to see you, now we living in regret. They called them crazy, called them ghosts, but them brothers showed us hope. Now the corners filled with ghosts, and them young was selling dope. They was out here still, I know a couple would've changed, but the prophets got pulled back. We walking through the flame. I see judges in the sky, ain't no one is left to cry. He gave signs, gave it time, but we played and lived their lives. Now I pray he show me mercy, cause I see what's coming in. And the voice of the prophets ain't ringing in my ear. I miss your voice, used to echo through the pavement. Preaching truth, not entertainment. Now the corner's vacant, used to hear repentant die. Now it's just shots and sirens flying by. Looking at destruction on the rise. All the real ones went inside. I miss your voice, I was crying for the nation. Warning us about damnation. Laugh like you always hating. Now I see floods, fire, and war. Ain't nobody teaching no more. The world done changed when y'all left the door. I miss your voice. Hope you can't say no gone, man.
All right, shalom. Let's clap it up. Hey, shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Barakatham, to all the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh, Shamar, Alathan, by Shem Yahushua, to all the sisters. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yahana. This is the Monday night history class. You know what I mean, where we teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans their culture and identity like we've been doing since 1969. You know what I mean, as a matter of fact, let me get Revelations 12 real quick. And this is so essential, just like every, you know what I mean, we teach class in whatever city, whatever state, whatever zone you in, Monday to Monday. You know what I mean? Every day we got some class. So if you Black, Hispanic, and Native American, and you know what I mean, you sick of the oppression that you've been experiencing, or not even just you, just your brothers and your sisters, if or just in general. If you're sick of the oppression that you've been seeing in America, if you sick of how crooked America has always been and still is today, if you're sick of seeing Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, even your oppressor, you know what I mean? 'Cause it's to the point where your oppressor is getting oppressed by the oppressor. Like, oh, your oppressor is oppressing themselves. If you're sick of seeing your oppressor oppressing everything under the sun, oppressing the trees, oppressing the air, oppressing the grass, oppressing the water, if you're sick of seeing how much of a tyrant your oppressor is, then you can find any ISUPK in any city, any state, any zone that you in, and get in contact with them brothers in that zone so that you can figure out, you know what I mean, what the next steps are. And if there's no zone, and if there's no school in the zone that you in the city or state that you in, then you need to call or contact the brothers in the nearest state or city. You know what I mean? And we need to build a zone, build a school in that city or state that's lacking, so that we can get the truth to the four corners of the earth, so that we can get the truth to every Black, Hispanic, and Native American that needs it, so that we can get the hell out of hell. Because our condition is predicated on us understanding and knowing the truth according to the Bible, understanding our laws, statutes, and commandments, and following them. I mean, so you know what I mean? Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel, whatever platform you're watching on. Like, share, subscribe, comment, share it with your loved ones, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. You know what I mean? So that we can get our oppressors' language and culture and identity out of our mouths and out of our heads and out of our hands, and come back to our culture. Because you know what I mean, your oppressor is desperately, this is the only thing that you can't be. Like, you can go all over, you know what I mean, all over the Bible. You go to Exodus, where we was in Egypt, and after Joseph had done so much to save the lives of not only his family, because through, you know what I mean, through his wisdom, he was able to save the lives and preserve the lives of his family who sold him into captivity. But he was able, even though he was able to save the lives of the Egyptians as well. And not only the Egyptians, like, he propped them up to be a prominent power and a prominent government in those times of that famine. But because Joseph was in that land and he had the wisdom of the Lord to be able to give to Pharaoh, to be able to preserve Egypt during that time of the famine, he was then able to preserve the lands around, like the nations and the lands and the you know what I mean, the governments around who didn't have his leadership. Like, they wasn't prepared for the famine like how Egypt was, but they was able to come to Egypt, and they had the means to be able to barter in exchange to be able to get the resources that they need to be able to survive. But even though we do that, even in America, you know what I mean, you look at America today, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans prop up American society to this day. And even though that's the case then, and it's the case now, we get no love, we get no thanks, we get no recognition for that, we get no benefit for that. You know what I mean? Like, we do all of these things to try to that our oppressor could benefit off of, and then after they benefit off of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, then they throw you away. Like, right after that in Exodus, you know what I mean? Uh, I believe the first chapter. Think what is it? As a matter of fact, let's get Exodus. What I think is 1:6, somewhere around there, where it says a new Pharaoh that didn't know Jacob. Like we propped up their whole nation, and even though we made it to where they were not only able to survive during that famine, but they was able to thrive. This is how they treated us, and this is how they treat us today. Should be Exodus 1 and matter of fact, let's see if should be 1 and 6, right? 1 and 8. Exodus 1 and 8.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 8.
It's like if y'all got any questions or anything, any questions or comments in the room or in the chat, feel free to raise your hand, grab the mic, ask your question, make your comment, or say them in the chat. If you got any questions in the chat, go ahead and put them in the chat. All right. It's like you go ahead.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
So there was a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Now, I just described all the things that that Joseph did. I mean, without Joseph, Egypt would have been, you know what I mean, in a bad way, just like every other nation roundabout. Every other nation that had to come to Pharaoh, had to come to Joseph and, you know, get the resources. And they like it, like if you read that whole story in the latter chapters of Exodus, they came and they gave all their money for the resources that Egypt had because of Joseph. And then they gave their cattle for the resources that Egypt had because of Joseph. And then they gave their they gave the clothes off their back. Then they sold themselves into captivity. They was like, look, we'll work for you. We'll be your captors if you just make sure we got a meal for the night. You know what I mean? And that was all because of the Most High, you know what I mean, and the wisdom that he gave to Joseph. And despite all of that, once there was a new king that arose that didn't know Joseph. Go ahead.
Khan. Verse 9. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
And this is why this class right here is so important, this Monday history class, because your oppressor is going to make sure. We've done so many things in America to prop up America. We fought in all their wars. Not only did we fight in their wars, but we were the reason that they won the wars. You know what I mean? We joined their political system, we joined their military, we joined their school system. We're so entangled in their society. We're their arts, their music, their sports. I mean, at one point we had separate leagues. We had the Negro League. We had we had all these separate leagues, and then all it took was one of us to want to integrate. Jackie Robinson, he wanted to integrate, and then we integrated into the MLB, or what is it? MLB, and now now all the strength and all the talents that we had in the Negro League baseball, that went to our oppressor. What do? They just make the money. They just set up the competition. They just set up the games and the dates and the you know what I mean? The tickets and booths and all of that. They build the stadiums and they make the money off of the talent of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Same with our you know what I mean? Our businesses. Any business, any industry that we enter into, like at one point, we had Black, Hispanic, and Native American businesses. We had Black, Hispanic, and Native American cities and towns and governments. We had Black lawyers, Black doctors, Black schools, Black engineers, Black pilots, you know what I mean? Black soldiers. We had all of these systems that were exclusively for Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. But then our oppressor began to loot and riot and pillage our cities. You know what I mean? A lot of them, most of them was led by military and police. Like they make it seem like it was just a freak of nature that Wall Street was burned down. Black Wall Street was burned down. Rosewood, that Seneca Village was, gentrified. That all of these, Black, Hispanic, and Native American cities was overtaken by our oppressor. They make it seem like it was just like uh, due to violence and riot, just random violence and random riots and things like that. But a lot of these were led and escorted and supported by the police and the military. You know what I mean? So what did that leave us? Instead of having Black, Hispanic, and Native American hospitals, Black lawyers, Black doctors, now those same people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, are working in Black hospitals and making America great. You know what I mean? We're working in we working in our oppressors' hospitals and making our oppressors' hospitals great. We're working in their law firms, making their law firms great. We're joining their police force and joining their military, making their military great. You know what I mean? And that's just how your oppressor does it. Then after they swallow your abilities up, and they swallow your nation into theirs, then they they turn on you. Like they erase your history. Like we join their military, and here you got Donald Trump. He's erasing the headstones in the history of Black, Hispanic, and Native American brothers and sisters that fought in the military. I mean, they erasing Black, Hispanic, and Native American history. They call in the transatlantic slave trade the transatlantic migration, making it seem like you just came over here because America was so great, but you were just too lazy to foot the bill. That's what they do. And we're reading it right here. Like in the Bible, like the Bible is a history book. Read that again, Bible Shop, from verse 8.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
And this is all it takes. It just takes somebody who to raise up. All it takes is for a new generation to be raised up that doesn't know, and they could just erase your history. Like there's a book called I forget what it is, but it's a bunch of stories directly from the mouth of the slaves. It's a couple books. I forget what it's called. But Tell the Children Our Story. That's what it's called. But it's a whole bunch of accounts directly from slaves, and they're telling the actual story of what happened. Another one. What's the one about the Alamo? Forget the Alamo. You know what I mean? Where the story that they tell you about the Alamo in high school or elementary school, the one that they tell you in San Antonio when you go to the Alamo, you know what I mean? And you at the Ripley's, believe it or not, the Mirror Maze and all of that, and the Wax Museum, when you walking around and enjoying the sights and all of that, the story that they tell you is completely different than actually what happened. And you know what I mean? That's what they do. All it takes is for a few generations to pass. All it takes for them to, you know what I mean, make it illegal for your as a matter of fact, let's get hold that. Let's get First Maccabees 6:6, I believe it is. But what you see in Exodus, the first chapter, is what you see all over the Bible, where they make it to where they erase your history and they give you something else in its place. And when you start to connect the dots, and you like, all right, well, this ain't adding up. Something ain't adding up. I think it's Second Maccabees 6:6. Salakia. But once you start to look at the history that they give you, and then you go, oh, something ain't adding up, then they make it illegal for you to learn your history or to even talk about your history. Go ahead, read what you got, Baba Kashan.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts
If you could go a couple verses. Try verse 4.
You want verse 4?
You know what? Try this. Start at verse 1.
Khan, it's the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God.
See, this is what they do. They will send your people to try to compel you to not keep your laws. I mean, that's what they did with Martin Luther King. That's what they did with what's his name that I just mentioned, the Major League Negro League dude, Jackie Robinson. That's what they did with you know what I mean, you name it. You know what I mean? That's what they do with the Christian church, where they'll the Christian church, when it's time to vote or when it's time to I mean, when it's wartime for America and they need soldiers to enlist into the military, they will use your family, your brothers, your sisters, your uncles, your aunties, and like who's the biggest advocate for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans joining the military? Like if you got veteran family members, you know what I'm talking about. Like you got some veteran family members and they've made a life for themselves. They maybe served a few years in the military. You know what I mean, 10, 15, 20 years in the military, was able to retire. They got a residual check coming in. You know what I mean? They got you know what I mean, they resume nice and tight. You know what I mean? And what are they gonna tell their nephews and their nieces and their grandchildren? If they gonna no, they gonna tell them to join the military. A lot of times, I mean, I got my whole a lot of my family is out the military. You know what I mean, or spent a lot of time in the military, and they like. I mean, we live in a military city. You know what I mean, in Killeen, Texas, this is a military town, and everybody, especially the young brothers and sisters, they are like, I'm gonna just join the military. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give me a Hellcat. I'm gonna give me, you know what I mean, a Scat Pack. You know what I mean, right or wrong. You know what I mean? They gonna get that fast car, they gonna get that signing bonus, and they gonna get in that uniform. They like it's gonna be a breeze. You know what I mean? I'm about to go in here, you know what I mean, do my little time, get that little paycheck, and you know what I mean, I'm be cool. It's gonna look good on my resume, all of that. We are the advocates to be able to try to convince our young brothers and sisters to join with our oppressor, and that's what you're seeing here. I mean, we're they'll take one of our people, want somebody of a reputation. That's what they did to I can't remember if it was either Mattathias or Judas Maccabeus. But they took one of our brothers and tried to make them be a voice or advocate for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to join our oppressors. And you know what I mean, Most High in Christ, Mattathias, it's in a previous chapter, but Most High in Christ, that brother, he was like, nah. He was like, nah, I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? But that's what they did. That's what they did with Martin Luther King. They take a brother of reputation, a brother that could speak well amongst blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They took a brother who had a high reputation or a high rapport, you know what I mean, with the black community, and they gave him a message. They was like, say this, do this, go up there, and it's like a like an ad. Like you see advertisements all the time with like athletes and things like that. LeBron and you know what I mean, D Wade with his, you know what I mean, he's advocating for his LGBTQ son, even though, you know what I mean, I think Dwayne Wade, he like 6 something, he like 6'6" or something like that. You know what I mean? He's a legend in the NBA. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What's his name? Who the other one? The older basketball player, but his son is a 6'8", 200. You know what I'm talking about? His son is a LGBTQ trans. What's the proper word? Can I say trans?
You talking about Dwayne Wade?
Magic Johnson. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, Magic Johnson. You know what I mean? Now he has to stand side by side next to his son, who I know, I mean, if you're a father, and especially if you're a father to sons, you want your sons, especially if you're a father with a strong reputation of being a warrior and you know what I mean, a strong brother, you want your sons to follow in your steps. You have these sons, and you like they're gonna be strong like me. I can't wait to see, like, that's what you want to see your children do. You want to see your children become strong. You know what I mean? And now Magic Johnson got to stand next to this 6'8", 350-pound. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
If I could, he got to stand next to a Saucy Santana.
Oh my God.
Because Saucy Santana like 6 foot something too.
Yeah.
Stand next to, alternative lifestyle basketball players. They should have been. They had that damn big.
Like that is I mean, you gotta social media make everybody look good. You know what I mean? But I know them brothers, the father of them brothers is going through hell. You gotta see you raised this child for X amount of years, 18 plus years, and you want your child to be they 6'8", 300 pounds. You want them, you looking for them you want to see what your children can do. And then they turn out to be, you see them in a skirt and makeup and full beard, muscles to the, you know what I mean, to the T, and then now you got a skirt and a, eyeliner on and lip gloss. You want to put a picture up?
We might get flagged.
Okay, I don't want to get flagged. Most time crazy.
They're gonna shut it down. We're gonna get striked and all.
Yeah, that's we have to start from
They be wearing some provocative clothing. You don't know what you're gonna pull up.
Yeah,
it's like searching Diddy name up.
Oh,
you don't know what's going. You don't know what's going to happen.
Most time crazy. Now that's a good call. Most time crazy. But that's what they do. Like they take the go ahead back to that Maccabees.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart them from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God.
See, that's what they always had to do with the children of Israel. They always had to send somebody to compel us to deviate from the culture of that the Most High gave us. And that's the only way that they can infiltrate us. What you got?
If I could, isn't that kind of like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King? It's like they were sent to compel us, and he's talking about, Martin Luther King, he had a dream that we can all be one. He just had a dream of lust of a white woman. He can be with her, so that way he didn't feel no type of way now that we all integrated.
No, that's exactly what we said about 10 minutes ago. You exactly right. That's exactly what they do. That's the whole point. They take one of us and they prop him up, and then we follow after him. See, they told us about Martin Luther King's dream. They said Martin Luther King had a dream that one day we'll be integrated and this, that, and third, and we'll be able to hold hands with our oppressor. But they didn't tell us about how his dream was his nightmare, turned out to be his nightmare. They didn't tell you about that part. But they used Martin Luther King to compel you to depart from the laws of your fathers. And then after he woke up to the mistake that he made, then, he got knocked off. Go ahead, read on, Baba Kashal.
Verse 2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius.
So that's what they do with your culture. Like they take your culture, they take your the thing that's in this Bible, and they turn it into Greek mythology. They take what's in this Bible and then they turn it into Christianity. You know what I mean? And none of those things has anything to do with the Bible. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
It's sore and grievous to us. I mean, that's what always happens to us. As soon as we let our oppressors, if you could put in your mind that the the reason why we in the condition that we in right now today is because we let our oppressor into our societies. That's where it comes from. We can get several accounts. We're gonna get a couple accounts tonight. Um, but it's several accounts all throughout the Bible where our biggest downfall was letting our oppressor into our societies and into our communities and trying to share, I mean, the our communities and share rulership with them. I mean, the Most High said, "You are above all people upon the earth." I mean, but we be trying to share with everybody, but and then once we share with them, they overtake us, and then they don't share with us. They might give you a crumb, but they don't share with you. You might see all these. You might see, you know what I mean, Kanye and Diddy and you know what I mean, all these entertainers, LeBron and all these actors and actresses, and see, yeah, they got some money, but they are not. You know what I mean, they are not as well off as you think. You know what I mean. I believe it was about a year or two ago when I think Monique, Taraji P Henson, uh what's his name, dude that say Maine all the time. Terrence Howard, yeah. Yeah. All of these actors, these black, Hispanic, and Native American actors and actresses was coming forward and saying, yeah, it looked good, but we not making no money. You see Usher, like Kat was talking about on Sunday, Usher, he's still on the stage performing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because they look rich. It might seem like a lavish lifestyle, but they not as well off as you think. You know what I mean? Because they put you, you know what I mean, they take you out of position. They take you out of position of rulership, and then they rule because we share our rulership with them. But then when they get in a position where they above us, they don't share it with us. They might give you a crumb. Like you see all these actors and actresses and entertainers that I named, they might look like they got something, but that's all for show. And you know what I mean? They like this, they always move the goalposts. Like at one point, brothers and sisters could come right out of high school, jump straight into a trade, right? You jump straight into a trade and you can make money, be able to support your family. So much so to the point where a brother, one household, or one brother working in the household can support his family. You know what I mean? And then, whereas his woman can support his 12 kids and you know what I mean, cook, clean, and you know what I mean, stay at home with the 12 kids, ain't got to work a job, and then he got a whole another family on the other side of town that don't nobody know about with just him working. And then they moved the goalpost and said, well, you ain't got enough experience, or you ain't got enough what's it called, education. So you go to college for 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years, and then you come out of college, and then they tell you you ain't got enough experience. And then I remember um, in the early 2000s, I remember it was an accomplishment to make six figures, like just to make $100,000. That was an accomplishment. And then once you make $100,000, you make $100,000, but your oppressor, they millionaires. And then now the goal is, you know what I mean, making six figures ain't nothing. Now the goal is to make a million. So you make a million, you become a millionaire, but then your oppressor's a billionaire. That's why you see brothers in the NBA, you know what I mean, brothers in the NFL, they got multi-million-dollar contracts. I believe LeBron, I think he up to like what, he like 60,000, like 30,000, something, like it's some ridiculous good night. So like a ridiculous number where he like it's like 60 million. Like it's a ridiculous number that most brothers and sisters won't see. And that look good. He make this amount of millions a year, but the coaches, the owners, the CEOs, they making billions. You know what I mean? And then brothers and sisters are shooting to make billions. And then what's his name? Elon Musk just became the first trillionaire. Like they always moving the goalposts, and really we at the same spot because the cost of living is going up, and the value of the dollar is going down. So you got these billions, but is you might as well just be a six-figure man. That's really all it is because they constantly moving the goalposts. So it might look like they put the illusion in front of you to make it seem like, oh well, how are you a slave when you got LeBron James making $30 million a year? You got brothers, you got Kanye who was a millionaire. You know what I mean? You got Diddy who was a millionaire. You got all these entertainers that was millionaires. How are you a slave? They put this illusion in front of you whole time. They're not sharing their kingdom with you. They always do the same thing where we're in rulership, we're the pinnacle of society, but then we try to share our kingdom with them, and then they make themselves the rulers, and then they don't share the rulership with us. It's like you said. You wanted to say something?
Yes, we are. It doesn't matter how much we make. We never have enough because we are still slaves and they are still owners. They are still masters.
Absolutely. That's the whole problem. Give her a hand. That's the whole point. Like the problem ain't how much money you making or how little money you making. That's not the problem. The problem is them being over you. That's the problem. And if we could just put that in our minds and understand that, then we can get out of hell. It don't matter how much, you know what I mean? It don't matter how much or how little you making. We won't be in hell because they won't be over us. You know what I mean? You go ahead, read on, or what you got? You about to do something you want to bring out, or you ever read that verse? Oh, most time crazy.
This is LeBron salary. I think when he first came in, he was making $4 million. Now he makes over $52 million a year. Since 2017, he's been making $30 million a year, over $30 million. And these are the guys, like you said, that are over us and wondering why, none of the communities are fixed. But you got $52 million. I know you can build like a Boys and Girls Club or a playground or a basketball gym or something to help somebody out, some new housing or whatnot. Give some the homeless people housing, give them some food. You got all this money, you gonna make it back because they're gonna watch it on TV. It's like,
what you saying is so heavy because I think he's doing all of that. Like I think in Akron, he built a school. You know what I mean? He's a philanthropist in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community for sure. But the point is, what's that bottom number? 25, 26 year. How much he make?
52 million.
He making 52 million a year. Meanwhile, what's his name? Elon Musk. Look up Elon Musk's annual salary. How much he make annually? What's his net worth? Like we comparing apples to oranges. Like, and it looks so good. And that was an excellent point. You know what I mean? We look at LeBron, we look at these salaries, these inflated numbers, and we like, because most people will never see that in their lifetime. We'll never see 52 million. You know what I mean? But then what you got?
It says approximately 792 billion.
It says 792 billion, but I believe he just crossed the trillionaire mark.
Yeah, I do believe he is a billionaire for sure. But trillionaire is crazy.
Yeah, he a trillionaire. That's not 700. Even let's just take 792 billion because that's not far from a trillion. That's not far from a trillionaire. But let's just take 792 billion. How far away from that is 52 million? That's the perspective that you need to have. Like, your oppressor isn't sharing this kingdom with you. You make 52 billion, he's making a trillion. That's like Cap gave a perfect example yesterday. He said, if I make if I make $200 million and I pay you, I'm gonna increase the number of what he said. I make $200 million. We working together, right? Or you're my employee, right? I make because you my employee, we make $200 million. If I pay you, if I pay you $5,000, are you gonna feel like you won? I mean, who's winning here? You gonna feel like that's fair, or you gonna how you gonna feel about that? We just made $200 million. Here's your $2,000 bonus. I'm gonna pay you $15 an hour, and then here's your $2,000 bonus. How you gonna feel about that?
$2,000 an hour.
That's what you gonna want?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Give her a hand. But you know what I mean? That if I just give you a $2,000 bonus, like here's a $2,000 check, and then you still gonna make your $15 an hour, you're gonna feel cheated. You know what I mean? If I'm making 200, if I made 200 million, you're gonna feel cheated. That's how your oppressor does you. Like they give you the illusion that you coming up or that you sharing the kingdom with them. Like y'all not, how are y'all slaves when y'all are able to make $50 billion a year? But when you put it in perspective of how much they make, and then you put it in perspective that they stole everything from you, and keep that in mind, because that's the problem. That's the part that we forgot. What was the first scripture we had? Was it in Revelation? Or no, we was in Exodus. Exodus 1 and I believe 8. Here's the thing. This is what they did. They made it to where we forgot. They made us forget. They forgot, and then well, they didn't forget, but they erased your history, and then they made sure you couldn't get access to your history. And then now a crumb feel like wealth. It feel like black excellence, don't it? 52 million. You got a black man making 52 million. That feel like black excellence. That's a crumb. You know what I mean? And it's thanks to read that again.
So book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 3. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful.
This is what they do to your communities. You know what I mean, you got all manner of, and we're gonna get into this a little later tonight. But you know what I mean, you ain't got no grocery stores in your neighborhoods unless you able to access a vehicle. But if you ain't got no vehicle, you live in a food desert. Like right here on 8th Street, if you don't have a vehicle, you don't have access to a grocery store. You know what I mean? If you don't have access to these resources, like these grocery shopping apps and all of that, to be able to get something delivered, or you're not able to access it yourself with a vehicle, the best thing that you got to eat is right there in the corner, in you know what I mean, the gas station food. You got to eat Slim Jims, and you got, it ain't no food in there. You know what I mean, I don't know if y'all have ever seen produce in a gas station, but it's moldy and you know what I mean, flies and everything. Y'all ever seen like the hot sauces and the little food that they like? You ever see like that gray film that's on top of the bottle? Like that's what you got access to if you don't have access to a vehicle. But you know what I mean. But what they do have, who owns those gas stations? You know what I mean? Your oppressor. You got access to, you know what I mean, the Chinese restaurant. It's a Chinese wing spot right there. Last time I checked, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think fried chicken came from China. I don't think that's a Chinese cuisine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's as old as the Bible. What you about to say?
Yeah, if I could, that's definitely not in their repertoire. They fried turtle, fried bat, snake, goddamn centipedes, anything other than a chicken.
Real talk.
Even if I could, it's so if they have chickens over there, they would purposely not eat them and will skin a cat or a dog. I've literally seen them do it and bake them a rotisserie style.
Yeah, these other nations, they gon' if you're not faster than these other nations, you're on the menu. They eating whatever they can catch. If they faster than, or if they can catch a wombat, a pangolin, or a bat, or a turtle, you know what I mean, then you're on the menu. You know what I mean? That's why they got the dogs. And how many times have brothers popped out on the Chinese in the back of a Chinese restaurant with the cell phone? They're like, they wrapping up the dogs, they vacuum sealing the dog. What's that in that bag? And the Chinese people like, nah, get out of here. No, 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 no. And then they look in the bag and it's a coyote or something. It's a pigeon. They catching pigeons, and that's what's in your orange chicken. You think you eating orange chicken? Now you eating orange bat. You eating orange turtle. Now what you got, Priest?
If I could, what just remind me what you're saying is like I remember I was in school and I'm in biology and we had to dissect animals.
Mm-hmm.
We was getting dissected animals in them vacuum sealed things from like Chinese restaurants, hole in the wall Chinese restaurant.
Hey, it's all making sense now. It's all making sense. But go ahead, drop down to verse 6 just for time's sake.
Come. The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts.
See, this is the thing. Like they try to make it seem like we don't have no culture, to the point where now, if you bring up Black, Hispanic, and Native American culture, the first thing we think of is music. What's Black culture? I think a couple years ago, we hit the streets and was just asking brothers. We went to these, you know what I mean, these events around Rabbit Fest and you know what I mean, the Latino festivals, the Hispanic festivals around here. And we'll just ask them, brothers and sisters, like, what is Black culture? Juneteenth. We'll go to Juneteenth, be like, what is Black culture? You know what I mean? And the first thing we brought up was music. We're like, well, you know, this our music, our culture, our hair, our skin, our, you know what I mean? Like we brought up entertainment. And that's not by accident. The fact that you don't have a culture, or do you think that you don't have a culture, that's not by accident. It's because, read that again, Baba Kashan.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts.
See, it was you feel like you don't have a culture, or you reduce your culture down to entertainment because it's illegal for you to be anything else but an entertainer. That's why when those questions are asked, what's Black culture, we think of music. We think of rap music. And then we look at it should be another I don't want to play it again. We played it in Cap's class. But as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get it. It's a check the email, and it should be a video from yesterday. If you could just play that real quick. That one right there, that should be the one.
This?
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah. Just hit download. And then you have to share the.
There you go.
You might have to share it. You're gonna have to share the window
Okay, that's fine.
instead of a tab or Chrome tab. But this is why we feel this way when we have these conversations. This is why we empathize. We start to look at ourselves different. This is why we start to hate ourselves, because your culture was illegal to practice. It was illegal for you to keep the Sabbath day. It was illegal for you to keep the feast, the Day of Atonement. It was illegal for you to keep the Passover. We're gonna read in Exodus where um all we wanted was just 3 days to be able to, serve the Lord, and they increased your burden. You know what I mean? But they always made your culture illegal. And then this is why when we have conversations like this, we empathize and agree with our oppressor. Go ahead, play that. You hear him? Hold up, pause that real quick. You see the caption? It says this devil explains why black fatigue actually makes sense. Now we look at the opinions of our oppressor after they make our culture illegal. They make it illegal for you to have some decorum. We're gonna be good night. Please, you got a mic back there? Oh, most sound crazy.
Sir, no, what you bringing out, is heavy because you were saying earlier how people say, well, how can y'all still be in slavery? Or how can y'all still be oppressed when you got LeBron James making X amount of dollars? Well, this man right here, is bringing out that the popular belief is all black people can identify with unaliving because that's all they hear is unaliving. When you hear women rapping, that's all they hear is about sluts. So he's categorizing black people as unalivers or sluts. And so the same way that they're saying, well, how can you all be slaves, if LeBron James make X amount of money? Well, the same way they doing it right there. Well, just because you hear, a lot of rap music and, about unaliving and about sluts or whatnot, doesn't mean that all black people are that. You understand? It doesn't mean that's what we believe. Doesn't mean that's what we condone. But like they say, you have your oppressor pushing that agenda, and that's what is believed in mainstream. Same thing. Oh, now LeBron making X amount of money. How can y'all be so? Well, everybody ain't making LeBron James money. You know what I'm saying? You go to the inner city. You know what I'm saying? You don't see no LeBron Jameses in the inner city with $52 million. What you see is the average black person, you understand, who is poor, you know what I'm saying, who is trying to come up, who is being oppressed, who is trying to be somebody. That's the majority of black people. So right. I was just bringing out that correlation, you know what I'm saying, to just show, they push one thing and we're seen as one thing.
Right.
This over here, they're pushing this and we're not seen, as that. But they will try to make it seem like, oh, y'all ain't in slavery no more. Hell yeah, we oppressed. When you have systematic, oppression and systematic racism, when you have systems in place for a certain race of people, you are an oppressed people and you are an enslaved people.
Right. Give him a hand. I mean, that's the whole point that I'm trying to make. Like, I'll be long-winded, but that was straight to the point. That's the reason why we're seen in this light, because we want to be engineers. As a matter of fact, we're the best engineers. We're the best lawyers. That's why Rick Chow took the life of a young black brother and then went and got a black lawyer. Because not only do we don't want to be thugs and promiscuous and all of that. We don't want to be the drug addicts and all the things they try to portray us to be. We not only do we want to be lawyers and engineers and things like that, we're the best. Because when they get in a pinch, when they get in a bind, they call us because they know we're going to get the job done. But the thing is, they made it illegal for us to act like we had some sense. We had businesses. We was anything but thugs and promiscuous women. Our families was together and all of that. And what did they do? Did they be like, good job? I knew y'all had it in y'all. This is what we've been waiting for y'all to do this entire time. Did they do that? Or did they burn our towns to the ground? Did they burn those businesses to the ground? They made it illegal for us to act like we got some sense. So when you look at our music, like the brother just said, you look at our music, you look at our what we think is black culture, and you see that, you know what I mean, our sisters are shaking their behind, and brothers is taking each other lives, and we leaving our families and doing drugs and getting high and doing all these things. When you see that, that's because that's all you allowed us to do. Because we decided to be anything else, you hunted us. You took our lives. You made it illegal for us to profess ourselves to be a Jew. Go ahead and finish the video. Hold on, pause it real quick. Before they get the cooning real quick. It's so funny that our oppressor is allowed to divorce us. They're allowed to be like, well, y'all do drugs, y'all sell drugs, y'all culture is murder and violence and whoredom. We don't want that around our children. That's perfectly fine for them to say that. But if we look at the hundreds of years of oppression and unaliving and the theft and the incest in their communities, and the, you know what I mean, the pillaging and the whoredom in their communities, I mean, there's so many. I mean, we can go all day. I don't even. I mean, this is the history class. We damn near don't even got to pull a precept. We can just look at recent history of why. What's that show called? To Catch a Predator. It's not on the air no more. Why not? See if you could Google why To Catch a Predator isn't on the air no more. This is, but if we say we want a divorce from our oppressor because of this, then go ahead, read what you got up there. You ain't got to share it.
It says To Catch a Predator was canceled in 2007 without intense legal and ethical scrutiny, primarily sparked by the 2006 suicide of Bill Condrat, an assistant district attorney in Texas. Condrat, a target of the show, fatally shot himself as police and the NBC camera crew arrived at his home with a search warrant.
The reason why To Catch a Predator, remember, To Catch a Predator is actually what is exactly what's in the title. The goal is to catch a predator, but the problem is the predators that they was catching, they were catching district attorneys, judges, lawyers, and the whole time these police officers, district attorneys, lawyers, they giving brothers like Carmelo Anthony football numbers for defending himself. He's defending himself, and they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear no case. They don't want to hear no rebuttal. They don't want to hear no explanation. They sending him to jail he was a minor when that whole incident happened. They sent him to jail for 35 years for defending himself as a minor. Even as a minor, he took so many steps to not have to take the life of his aggressors. Like, he was running away, he was backing up, he ran, he was, you know what I mean, he did all of these different things, and he ended up ultimately having to take his life. And as a minor, he's facing 35 years. Meanwhile, the district attorneys, that's, you know what I mean, the public defenders that's defending what's his name? What was bro's name? Austin Metcalf and his family. The lawyers, the judge that put him away, you know what I mean, the jury, they're being found as predators. They're the predators that they're catching. What's his name? Austin Metcalf's father, I I think his name is Jeffrey Metcalf. He's calling Carmelo Anthony a watermelon felon, and meanwhile, he went to jail in, I believe it was like 2011 or something like that, for sexual assault. They're the predators, but they're also the judges. They're the lawyers. They're the jury. They're the public defenders. They're the prosecutors. They're the what's the police officer that be in there? What's his name? The bailiff. They're the bailiff. They're the you know what I mean? They the police. They're they the ones that's giving you the time, and they're the predators. Slacker, go ahead, play the video, or you had some
I had a point.
Oh, please go ahead, Slacker.
I just wanted to say that I'm tired of this narrative because they always say we make up 13% of the population and commit 50% of the crime, which is completely inaccurate. We're exonerated the most, which means we get locked up for not even committing a crime. White people make up 59% of the population in the U.S., and they're getting arrested 70% of the time. Need I remind you, 70% of the times they're getting arrested is because they're forcing themselves on women and men.
Oh my God.
But yet we're the predators. Yet we're the criminals. And he can't just talk to a woman and she give herself to him naturally. He got to go force himself on her. Or if not, go force himself on a little boy. But we're the criminals and predators. A lot.
Good name. I mean, that sound about white. That's, you know what I mean? Like it's I mean, not only I mean, you getting TV shows shut down because they constantly catching oppressors, and not only just oppressors, just some Jim from around the way. They're catching your mayor, they're catching your prosecutors and all of that. Another rumor, look up why. Look up, see if you can find why. Where did getting the STD from a toilet seat rumor come from? Check that out. This is who your oppressor is, and mind you, this is the person that's sitting amongst all of these black men and telling them how dangerous their culture is, and how white people need a divorce from black culture. Your oppressor is a hypocrite. Is it a AI just like an overview? 'Cause I don't want to get too far off topic, but I do want to. There you go, right there. That's it, right there.
Thank you. All right. It says the myth that you contract a sexually transmitted disease from a toilet seat originated in the late 19th and early 20th centuries as a medical excuse to mask marital infidelity and child sexual abuse.
There's a whole rumor saying that you can contract STDs from a toilet seat because children were popping up at hospitals with these STDs, these sexually transmitted diseases and infections. And it was found out that it came from, and not only was it, you know what I mean, these children popping up with these STDs, but it was, again, it wasn't just Joe around this corner, but it was your lawyers, your mayors, your doctors, you know what I mean, your district attorneys, your judges, your police force. Their children was popping up with STDs, and they're saying it's because of a toilet seat, but it's really to mask all of the sexual abuse that goes on in those upper upper class households, which are white people. What you got, Priest?
If I could, to your point, it says denial of incest and child abuse, according to medical historian Lynn Sakos, research sanitized for your protection. Doctors in the early 1900s frequently diagnosed young children with gonorrhea rather than confronting the reality of child sexual abuse or incest, the medical establishment and families blame school or public toilet seats to protect the perpetrators and avoid family ruin.
Yeah.
They're protecting the predators.
Gone.
That
Sound
sounds very
about
white
right.
to me.
Right.
It's like
And this is now go back to the video. And this is the one. Now, with all of that in mind, your sexual predators are the attorneys. They are the police. They are the military. You know what I mean? They are your you know what I mean, your lawyers. And he's sitting here telling you how dangerous your society is. He's telling you how violent your society is because you rap about taking life and rap about guns. They're the ones that stole the land with violence. They brought the guns. You know what I mean? They're talking about how your culture and your music is full of drugs. They brought the drugs. They're talking about how your music is full of you know what I mean, or your women being promiscuous. They forced themselves on our women. Go ahead, play that.
okay.
Now pause that real quick. You see how they arguing now? Like they like, well, one brother's like, well, that's not black culture. That's the subculture. Like that's in our music, but that's not black culture. But the brother's like, nah, hold up, nah, it is. Keep it real. It is black culture. Whole time, the most dangerous place that black, Hispanic, Native Americans, or any other nation of people in culture and identity, the most dangerous place that you can be is under an oppressor. The most dangerous place for a child is in a oppressor's household, is in a white household. The most dangerous place for any other nation to be is in a oppressive society and in their government and in their military. That's the most dangerous place for not just blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, especially blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but not just blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but they're a danger to themselves. I mean, we just got the proof. They're the predators, but they're also the judges that give out the sentences. They're the unalivers, but they're also the police. You know what I mean? They're the deviants. They're the psychopaths. They're the sociopaths, but they're also your doctors. That's why the birth of the early gynecology started with the experimentation on black, Hispanic, and Native American women without anesthesia because they're the unalivers, they're the psychopaths, they're the predators, but they're also the doctors, the lawyers, the military, the police, the attorneys. Go ahead, play the rest of that. We're gonna get up off it. Pause it. You go. We done with that. Now we the racists because look, the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. That's the number one thing that brothers and sisters need to understand. Your oppressor is the devil, and he will take your culture away. Not only will he take your culture away and make it illegal for you to call yourself a Jew, to keep your culture, to keep your Passover, to keep your laws, to, you know what I mean, to grow your beard, to wear your fringes, but he makes it mandatory for you to be an animal. Because I mean, that whole conversation was about how violent the industry is, but who's running the industry? When it talks about the music industry, it's full of promiscuity and violence and drugs. But who's running the industry? Because there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that's rapping and singing and entertaining that's not talking about, you know what I mean, our sisters selling their bodies and talking about drugs and, you know what I mean, taking brothers and sisters' lives. And they don't see the light of day. Who's propping up these artists to make that the mainstream? Who runs the music industry? Type that in what General Muhammad say. He said, type that in your Google machine. Who runs the music industry? Let's put the blame right where it belongs. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing wrong with your oppressor coming into black spaces, coming on a black podcast and telling black people what's wrong with their black communities. But the moment we put that blame right where it belongs, now we're victims. Now we always want to play the victim. What you got?
You looking for like their ethnicity and race? I mean, in a nutshell, it would be white people.
I'll go ahead and skip.
More specifically, Jewish white people.
What's bro name? Lear Cohen. I mean, you look up any major industry. You look up they say our women are whores. Who runs the sexual industry? Your oppressor. They say our music is violent. Who runs the music industry? Our oppressor. They say, I mean, you look up any industry where they try to put the blame on Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans and say that we the most destroyed or the most destructive. At the top, who's making the millions, how we was talking about earlier, you might have rappers and entertainers that make 50 million a year. There's an oppressor at the top making trillions, making hundreds of billions of dollars off of the culture that they say is destructive and that is the problem with Black, Hispanic, and Native American culture. And it's all because of, let's go back to 2 Maccabees 6:6.
So book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
See, the reason why what's propped up in the forefront of Black, Hispanic, and Native American community is so violent and so drug filled and so promiscuous is because they made it illegal to be anything else. Let's get Deuteronomy 4 and 6. This is your wisdom and understanding. Is that the one?
Mm-hmm.
See, when they make it unlawful, when they make it illegal to profess yourself to be a Jew, when they profane your holy things, when they ransack your temples and they strip you of your culture and identity, this is what they're really stripping you from. Go to the about 2 verses up.
It's the book of Deuteronomy.
Salaki, go to verse 5. Salaki. I think that's where it is.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
See, this is what we were commanded to keep: the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what the whole purpose of it is. Go ahead, read on.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
These laws, statutes, and commandments is our wisdom and understanding in the sight of the other nations. This is what's going to make, see, your oppressor won't be able to look at you and be like, well, your music is full of violence and drugs and whoredom. They won't be able to look at you like that if you keep your laws, statutes, and commandments. They'll look at you as a wise and understanding people. But because they made it illegal for you to profess yourself to be a Jew and to keep your laws, statutes, and commandments, then we don't have no wisdom and understanding. We don't look wise to any other nation. We look like the animals. And that's why they attack your culture. So you can be a Muslim knowing Batanai. You can be a Hindu. You can be Kemet. You can call yourself African. You can celebrate Christmas. You can celebrate Easter. You can be a Christian. You can be a Catholic, even though Christianity and Catholicism is full of, sexual deviancy. But the moment that you call yourself an Israelite, now you in a cult. Now you in a hate group. Go ahead.
Verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?
See, this is what our oppressor is supposed to look at us like. What nation is so great that they have a God so nigh unto them, that they got all this wisdom and understanding? What is this nation that's so excellent? And that's how they always looked at us. When they would look at us and they would be like, that's what Christopher Columbus thought when he came to the Americas in 1492. He said, they are such an excellent and wise and understanding and caring and kind people. They will make perfect slaves. That's what he did. All we got to do is just stay the course, keep our law. And not only would these other nations look at us as wise and understanding people, but they wouldn't be able to touch us at all. Because we have, read that last part again, or verse 7.
Who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for.
What they would look at us like, what nation is so great that hath God so nigh unto them? You know what I mean? All we got to do is just stay the course. Let's get Revelations 12 real quick.
So like if I could, a sister
Please.
In the chat says you can do all manner of wickedness and be accepted by telling and be accepted. So like it, but telling the truth and keeping the laws is unacceptable in this place.
Give her a hand. What she's saying is absolutely correct. In this place, you must be an evil piece of garbage, because that's the only way that they can touch you. I mean, Deuteronomy 28 is full of 68 reasons. It's full of 50 reasons why you should keep your culture. It's full of 68 reasons why you should keep your culture and why you should ignore your oppressor's culture. You should avoid, celebrating Christmas and integrating with your oppressor, intermarrying with them, doing their drugs, joining their military and their police force. It's full of 68 reasons, good reasons too. I mean, I'm sure brothers and sisters are familiar with Deuteronomy 28, so we ain't gonna go into it. But what you got? Revelations 12 and let me get there with you. So lock you.
We want the you talking about the great dragon, verse 9.
Salakia.
It might be what you want, or maybe you're going somewhere else with it. I was thinking you're going at 9 now.
The part where it says the earth helped the woman.
The earth had what?
Helped the woman.
That's verse
16.
16.
Yeah.
Comic-Con. The book of
15.
15? No sweat. The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman,
Mm-hmm.
that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
So the Lord, the Most High always referred to us as there's a couple metaphors that he used to describe the nation of Israel. He described us as his children. He described us as his wife. You know what I mean? So in this right here, the woman is the children of Israel. Remember, Revelations is a vision that John the Revelator was having. So a lot of this is metaphorical. You know what I mean? And it's saying the serpent, we know who the serpent is, right? You know what I mean? It's the oppressor, that old serpent. You know what I mean? The devil, the Bible speaks of, the most subtle beast of the field. Exactly. You sure right, sis. That's the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water. What does your oppressor cast out of his mouth to try to carry away blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? Anybody in the chat as well can answer.
Can you repeat that, sir?
What does your oppressor cast out of his mouth to carry away the nation of Israel?
The sister in the chat said wrong doctrine.
You're right. That's make it succinct though. You're absolutely correct. That's 100% the right answer. But just try to make it one word. Make it. What's wrong doctrine? What is that? What do you call that? Christ is a black man. The wrong doctrine is that stringy hair white devil that you see. You look up Jesus Christ right now, it's gonna be a white man. You know what I mean? God, the Christian church says God loves everybody. That's the wrong doctrine. The Bible says God loves Israel, and Christ was sent for Israel. What do you call wrong doctrine?
She said false/bad teaching. Another sister, Drea, said lies, and then the sister followed up with lies as well.
Give them a hand. That's the answer. That's what your oppressor cast out of his mouth to carry away blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans from following their culture. Like what that devil on that podcast was saying, that was the flood, where they're the biggest unalivers. They're the most, who's more violent than your oppressor? Like they don't have no boundaries. Like they don't have no boundaries to who they're violent to. Like we just looked up 2 examples of them, not only them sexually assaulting their own loved ones, their children, but it was the upper echelon of them that was doing this sexual misconduct. Like black people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, see, they love to highlight the violence in the music, the guns that we talk about in the music, the drugs that we talk about in the music, but they don't want to talk about why. Like, cause that's in the music too. You listen to any rap song, and the reason why brothers is carrying all these guns and got the switch is because they live in a violent environment. They're poor. The reason why they selling drugs is because they poor. The reason why Cardi B started off as a stripper is because she was poor. And the reason why our this industry with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans making this music this way is because we trying to make it out the hood. We poor. We're in these poor, messed up conditions. But, and of course, it's not right. But these are, your oppressor are lawyers, judges, doctors. They're the upper echelon of society, and they're eating your babies. They're sexually abusing their children. And this person, this devil, is going to sit on his podcast and tell you how terrible you are. And read that again.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
That's what that devil is doing. He's casting out a flood out of his mouth. He's casting out lies to this is talking about his ability to lie and carry away blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to where all he got to say is black people make up 13% of the population, but commit over 50% of the crime. And we like, dang, that is true. See, ain't no white man ever did nothing wrong to me. It's always a black man that's robbing me taking my life or selling me drugs. Those are the lies. That's the flood that the serpent cast out of his mouth. Go ahead, read on.
What kind? That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
And that's the whole point. The whole point of him lying is so that you can be carried away of the flood. And this is what's happening right now. This is what's happening. This is why we have this Monday history class. Because this right here, go ahead and read that next part.
What kind? That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Verse 16. And the earth helped the woman.
And the what?
And the earth helped the woman.
So the dragon, the serpent, is casting out these lies out of his mouth after the woman, but the earth is helping the woman. So what does that mean? So your oppressor is lying. We already established that the serpent is your oppressor. The flood out of his mouth is the lies that he tells so that he can take our brothers and sisters off the course. So what does it mean when the earth helps the woman? The woman being blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. How is the earth helping blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? You was about to say something?
Yeah, if I could.
If you got the answer, I don't want you to give it quite yet. You was about to get an answer?
Yeah.
Okay, no sweat. Let's see if somebody in the chat or
I was gonna give a crack at it. I was gonna see if I had that.
Okay, no sweat. You want to give it a shot, sis, before I pass it to the priest?
Well, it's okay. So you said that he is spitting out the lies, and
Yep.
So the earth helped the woman, which
Mhm.
is us, our
Right.
culture. So it sounds like we have bought into what he said our culture is, and that is what we are using.
That's the truth. That's what's happening. But how is the earth helping the woman? So the earth is helping us right now. The earth. How is the earth helping us? Your oppressor says you are not allowed to be an Israelite. And your oppressor is telling everybody you can't be the Israelites. Because if you're the Israelites, you're not in the land. How are you the Israelites? You're poor. How are you the Israelites? If God loves you more than anybody else, you're poor? How are you poor? The Lord loves you. They're lying, but the earth is helping debunk those lies. What you got, priest?
A sister in the chat said protection. Sister Drea.
Protection how? We coming around a corner. How is the earth helping or protecting us from this flood of lies? You wanted to give it a shot, priest, or is any more answers?
Wait, repeat it again, sir, if you could. Like your question, so I got it more clear, so I understand.
How is the earth helping the woman from the lies?
Oh, well, she answered. She said the earth is providing all things.
What do you mean by that? You're right. What do you mean by that, though? I just want to make sure how is the earth providing all things? And I'm trying to give it, just stay right where we at. Your oppressor is lying. The earth is helping against those lies. You wanted to
Khan, sir, in regards to that, every day, something new is being discovered in the earth. So our oppressor might say this. Well, they just found this over here, that contradicts, what he's saying. So every day, there's things that are coming out. There's things that are being discovered that are contradicting, what our oppressor is saying.
God, give him a hand. The earth, that right there, that wall that you see over there, that's the earth helping the woman. They said that Christ was. Look up Jesus Christ real quick. Put the image on the screen real quick. They say this is what Christ looked like, but the Russian icons that Putin, you know what I mean, opened the vaults a couple years ago. They said something totally different. They say, you know what I mean. They say that's what Christ looked like. But then you open up these records right here. You open up these separate records, and it says Christ is a black man. That's the earth helping the woman, like the brother just said. I mean, your oppressor tries to make it seem like your culture is the most violent and the most drug inducing and the most promiscuous and all of that. And every day it's something being discovered. You know what I mean? Archaeology and history and things like that that's being discovered that proves otherwise, that contradicts the lies that your oppressor is casting out of his mouth. That's why it's saying in verse 15, the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away. So he's casting those lies out of his mouth, but the earth is saying something completely contradictory to what your oppressor is saying about you. That's why this history class is so important, so that we can know where the lies is. You know what I mean? So that we can have protection from the lies that your oppressor spews out of his mouth. It's like you, please go ahead.
If I may, sir, like I say, it's just heavy because, as Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, we would still be thinking, that we're just, slaves, that we came from Africa, but like you said, those records that we have let us know that we're the children of Israel. These other things that are coming out let us know that our oppressor is our enemy, who he is. Not only, does it, allow us to find out who we are, where we come from, it also allows us to identify our enemies.
That's 100% facts. I mean, that's the truth, and that's why you notice that your oppressor is getting more and more aggressive about casting those lies out his mouth. Like since you know what I mean, since the Carmelo Anthony case, Cyrus Belton case, you start to see these brothers and sisters come up missing, hanging from trees and come up missing. Like what's that brother name? Nolan Wells came up missing on a boat. You know what I mean, with all his white friends. What's that sister name? Tamla Horsford come up missing. You know what I mean, she ended up face down in the pool and with all her white friends, and nobody knows what's going on. They ruling it a suicide. And then you check the comments. I don't know if y'all looking at these comments. These comments on social media is getting ridiculous. Like they calling, like it's not even debate. Like they not even having debates no more. Like what's his name? What was bro name that got hit in the neck? Charlie Kirk. You know what I mean? He would go to these campuses and he would at least skew, you know what I mean? His lies were at least, subtle. Like he would come to the campus and battle these children about history that was hidden from us and try to paint the picture that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the most violent and the most susceptible to, you know what I mean, these destructive lifestyles. These people in these comments, they didn't let intellect out intellect has left the chat. Intellect is out the window. They just in there talking about Jigaboo, Watermelon Muncher, what bro say? Jeffrey, what's his name? Metcalf. He called him a watermelon felon. They not even being intelligent with the accusations and the lies and the attacks on Black people. They just in the chat calling you. They saying you chimping out. They saying that you the monkeys and all. They calling you. I mean, am I the only one seeing this in the comments? Please go. You wanted to say something?
If I could, to your point, that's just how you know. Like it just goes back to the point that they're racist. The whole reason why they even hated Black people for color, skin color, and then like you're saying, they're not even having no intellect because they never had any. They just throwing out racist stuff just for no reason, just because they got a mouth to talk. And then when they say you chimping out, it's basically saying, hey, bro, we doing this stuff to you. You chimping out, you complaining. Just pick yourself up by the bootstrap. Don't complain about it. Yeah, we out here being evil and doing this. Just shut up. Just let us do it. That's basically what they're saying. Like,
That's pretty much it. Like they want you to just take the abuse that they giving you and then just that's that. Shalom. What you gonna do? Like what's his name? What was bro name with the weird mustache? Chud the Builder. He would go into black spaces and provoke black people, calling them the N word and chimps and all of that, and provoking them. And once black people get fed up with it and demand that they be left alone, demand that he leave and go about his business, he brandish a gun. He like, what you gonna do? And continue. He doubled down. He get more aggressive with the violence and the the slurs and all of that. He brandished a gun, and then he would walk around with bear mace. You know what I mean? That's what they do. You know what I mean? And that's what they've been doing. You know what I mean? They getting more and more aggressive as we get closer, like the brother said. You know what I mean? As we get closer and closer to, you know what I mean, discovering our culture and calling ourselves, you know what I mean, Israelites, calling ourselves the Jews, you know what I mean, learning our culture, learning our identity, and practicing it. The more we do that, the more aggressive they get with the flood of lies that come out of their mouth. The more aggressive they get with trying to cover your history, cover your identity, cover the earth. You know what I mean? That's helping us with all this new information that's being exposed. Why we don't have free healthcare in America? Because the white man is the devil. And if they have free healthcare in America, who else will get free healthcare? The people who are working in the mine shafts, the people who are working who are in the military, the people who are the bravest, the most intelligent, the brothers and sisters that put themselves on the front lines to carry America. They're going to be the ones that receive it the most. Why? Because they're the ones carrying America. Who's carrying America? We are. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are carrying America. So we're going to be the ones that need the health care and going to receive it. So instead of giving free health care for everybody, like every other country, like the World Cup, is the World Cup still, or the World Cup still going? Or is that over?
I think it's over.
Argentina?
I think so.
Okay, no sweat. But during that, like we was the only country. We the only country that doesn't have health care. And the reason why that is because if they had a universal health care, black people would get it. So instead of having that and potentially helping out black families, they had that 20% gap. That's what a copay is. To deter blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans from going to the doctor. Because we're the poorest. Because why? They keep us poor. Why? Because they burn down our towns. They burned down our homes and our neighborhoods. They made it difficult for us to get put businesses in our neighborhoods and get loans to be able to start businesses in our neighborhoods and be able to go to school and get more education. They make it hard for us to be able to go into the workforce and be able to work our way to the top. You know what I mean? Let me get that let me get one of them videos, that first video I sent you. But all of these things, all of these things is the reason why all of the things I just mentioned before, the reason why there's no free healthcare, the reason why we don't have black businesses and black neighborhoods and towns and things like that, the reason why we don't have black schools, the reason why we don't have black athletic associations, the reason why the Super Bowl halftime show belongs to whoever owns the Super Bowl, because before the Super Bowl halftime show, it was what was it? What was the show called? I forget what it was called, but it was good night. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know the Wayans, I think the Wayans brothers had a lot to do with it. Was it in Living Color? Is that what it was? The before the reason why there was a halftime show is during the games, um before uh it was gentrified and became part of the NFL, black people would put on a show in the middle of the games. Like they would like halfway through the game, you'll have an intermission, but there was nothing for them to do. There was no entertainment. There was no nothing. You would just, get up, go get some popcorn or whatever the case is. And I believe it was the Wayans that was putting on these shows. You know what I mean? They'll put on these shows and, have all these black entertainers and all of that. And they would get all the money imagine all of the money that goes into the halftime show, the commercials and the performances, all of those different things. Like all of that money that you see today goes into the NFL, the halftime show, that went to Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. But they took one black man. They would always take one of us and convince us to go into their society and play for the other team. And I believe that one man at that time was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson played the halftime show, the first halftime show. And that started the the halftime show. Instead of it going to the Wayans, it went to whoever owns the NFL now. You know what I mean? They did all of that. You know what I mean? That's just another example. You know what I mean, we only got a couple, a couple hours to be able to go through all this, but we gonna go into it, in the next couple classes, as we continue to do the history class. But that's the reason why all of these things is happening, is because your oppressor stops us from being able to do these things on our own. And they basically say, get down and lay down. They're like, you gonna do this, or we gonna burn your cities down. We're gonna we're gonna put loopholes to make sure you can't, succeed in our society. And then there's always one coon that decides to fold and be like, hey, money is money. You know what I mean? And then they go and get that money. They go and get that crumb. And they get rich to us. They rich to us. You know what I mean? Like Jay-Z. You know what I mean? He is a supporter of the NFL. You know what I mean? And he pretty much supports everything that's contrary to Black, Hispanic, and Native American issues and agendas. But to make that quick buck is always one coon. And that's who they use to try to convince Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to love and assimilate to our oppressor's culture. And this is one of them. Go ahead and you go ahead and play that video real quick. So this is the reason why there's so many Chinese restaurants in your neighborhood. You know what I mean? This is because, we live in like we was talking about earlier, we live in these food deserts and we live in these neighborhoods. We live in a hood where it's a Christian church, gas station, liquor store, Chinese restaurant. It's a Chinatown. And where's the Chinatown in every hood or in every neighborhood? It's in the hood. You know what I mean? But this is why right here. Go ahead.
After 12 years living in California, Chinese citizen Che Chan-ping was ready for a visit home. He procured the necessary documents for his departure and return journey and set sail for China, where he spent the next year reconnecting with friends and family.
Okay, so
but when he returned to San Francisco on October 8th.
So before we get here, right? So this is an account of a Chinese man that went home and came back and was rejected. But before this, when during the I think it was called the gold rush, it was a period where there was a whole bunch of gold being found in California, and people was getting jobs, you know what I mean, mining these gold mines, you know what I mean? And it was a whole bunch of jobs and it was so becoming so lucrative that it was other nations coming from Europe to America to get these jobs. And so, you know, that's the backdrop. Go ahead.
8th, 1888, Ping and his fellow immigrant passengers were forbidden to disembark. Just days earlier, President Grover Cleveland had signed the Scott Act, which invalidated the legal documents allowing their re-entry to the United States. This policy threatened to separate families and deprive Chinese immigrants of their homes and livelihoods. Ping challenged the ruling, beginning a legal battle for the rights of thousands of Chinese immigrants. But his case inspired an even more controversial policy that continues to impact immigrants around the globe. Discrimination
Pause this
against
real quick.
Chinese immigrants had begun decades.
So because they was getting all these jobs, white people started to get worried that their livelihood was being challenged. Like, well, like how they try to say that Black Hispanics and Native Americans is taking all the white jobs. It was the immigrants from Europe. It was Europe and Asia. And this is just specifically about the Chinese, but that's where it was coming from. Like they was coming over and taking the jobs, and it was causing an uproar with of angry white people who felt like their livelihood was challenged. And you know, when white people feel like their livelihood is challenged, what do? How well we know white people? What they going what do your oppressor do when they feel like their livelihood is challenged? Let's see if anybody in the chat as well. When white people feel like their livelihood is challenged, what do? It's their favorite thing to do. I know we know white people better than that. What they do? You feel like white people feel like they I feel like I'm saying white people too much. Your oppressor feel like they you know what I mean, they money is getting challenged. They you know what I mean, they getting threatened. What do? Yeah, Joe.
I didn't know if you want to chat.
What the chat talking about?
Sister Drea said, "Steal, kill, and destroy."
That's exactly what they do. They get violent. That's exactly what they did. Go ahead, and they're gonna say it in the video.
It's earlier, when the California gold rush created a massive demand for labor. Initially, Chinese immigrants were welcomed as reliable workers and became essential parts of frontier communities. Many built railroads and worked in the mines, while others operated laundries, restaurants, and general stores. The 1868 Burlingame Treaty even granted China favored trading status with the US and allowed unrestricted migration between the two countries. But as large numbers of Chinese immigrants found success, American workers began to see them as a threat. Politicians and labor leaders denounced them for driving
Pause
down.
that real quick. Who saw them as a threat? American workers saw them as a threat. Mainly our oppressor. And they gonna go ahead and play on.
Wages, and violence against Chinese individuals became increasingly common. This anti-Chinese sentiment soon found its way into California's courts. In 1854, following a murder trial where a white man was convicted of murdering a Chinese man, the California Supreme Court overturned the conviction, holding that Chinese eyewitness testimony.
It's a one last video, Slakia, and I think it's the last video I sent you on should be China Mac. See, this is the problem, right? We're painted. This is talking about how white people felt threatened. This is where all the stop Asian hate and the stop the violence against the anti-violence against Asians. This is where this comes from, because white people was being violent against Asians because they felt like their jobs and their livelihood was at stake. But guess who foot the bill? Not that video. Let me see. Go to the should be a, I think it's like a Facebook link or something like that. It's a social media link. Salakia.
I see the two videos, the one before that when it was on a podcast, and then I see this Google one right here.
It says good night. Oh, you know what? I don't think it went through.
You just sent it? Yeah, I only got these four.
No, yeah, I don't think it went through. Like it, that's my bad. But you know what I mean? Who ended up footing that bill though? White people is being violent toward Asians, trying to protect their own jobs. But when what's his name? Rick Chow took Cyrus Belton life, China Mac get on social media talking about how, you know what I mean, all this violence is happening to Asians and nobody said anything. And so when Rick Chow did what he did, he was all Asians thought maybe he saved somebody from getting robbed, or maybe he saved somebody from getting hurt or having a life taken. Whenever your oppressor, you know what I mean, your oppressor can commit all this crime, commit all these atrocities, and then they make it seem like you're the problem. Just like what we just saw in that earlier video when that oppressor was on that podcast trying to highlight all the problems in the black community when they are 10 times worse. That's what always happens, man. You always become the scapegoat. Let's get this last one. Let me get Ecclesiasticus 26 real quick. Lock you. Ecclesiasticus 26 and start at verse 11. 10, Salakia. 9. Salakia.
It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26 and verse 9. The whoredom of a woman.
The whoredom of a what?
Of a woman.
Now, what were we do in Revelation, the 12th chapter? What did the Most High call us? What was the metaphor that was used? What did he call the nation of Israel? He called us, say it in the mic. You got a mic over there?
The woman.
We are always described as a woman. You know what I mean? So to read that again.
It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26 and verse 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
Mm-hmm. See, the Lord knows that we whores. The nation of Israel, we whores because of our haughty looks and our eyelids, the way we look, the way we behave, the way we dress ourselves. We cover ourselves in the culture of our oppressor. And that's whoredom to the Most High. Go ahead.
I don't kind. Verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty.
See, all this liberty we got in America, we abuse ourselves with this liberty. You know what I mean? We got all of this, you know what I mean, these drugs and this whoredom and all of this violence right at our fingertips. You know what I mean? We abuse ourselves with overmuch liberty as the nation of Israel. We play the harlot with the Most High, or with these other nations against the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Watch over an imprudent eye, Salaki, and marvel not if she trespass against thee.
Mm-hmm. And this is how a whore behaves, and this is what we can't do. And this is why we're in the condition. This is why we stay in this perpetual cycle of, you know, being destroyed. Go ahead, read verse 12.
Verse 12. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler, when he hath found a fountain.
See, we are a thirsty traveler. We thirsty. All it takes is for our oppressor to do the wave, do the moonwalk, do the spin move. All it takes is for them to be able to sing real good, dance real good. All it takes for them to get a fade, you know what I mean, get a good taper. All it takes for them to braid their hair, you know what I mean? And we inviting everybody to the cookout. Read that again.
She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain, and drink of every water near her.
We will drink of every water near us. Remember what that water is in Revelation? We drink up all the lies. We look at our oppressor and their culture and their society, and we look at it as if it's good, and we drink it up. And that opens the door for our oppressor to destroy us and keep us in this condition. We being so thirsty. We just need the attention of our oppressor, need the approval of our oppressor. Go ahead.
By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow.
Yeah, we need to taste every nation. We need to taste every flavor of sin before we get the picture. We need to sleep with. We need to see. We don't want to deal with each other no more. We don't want black culture no more. We don't want to you know what I mean? We don't want to love one another no more. We need to see what it's like to get that white privilege. And our sisters and our brothers is sleeping with and intermarrying with our oppressor. And what's happening to us? We coming up missing, and they calling it a suicide. We need. It ain't enough to have, you know what I mean, black friends who understand your what real black culture is, who understand what real black plight and real black issues and black struggle is. It's not enough to just have black friends who understand you. You got to have white friends. So that's why brothers and sisters is coming up missing, because we a thirsty traveler. We just drinking up all the lies. We gotta have it. But if we understood our history and our culture, then we could avoid those lies. We can understand that those lies is the reason why we are under such a cruel oppressor. But if we understood the truth, we would understand that your oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, and we could save the lives of millions of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and get the hell out of hell. All right. With that, was there anything in the chat that we need to address?
Wow, sir.
Okay. So anything in the room?
If I could,
Please.
I was gonna say, we out here moving just carelessly, like as a nation. Like somebody just come give us because we so down as a people and destroyed. And like you said, thirsty travel. Somebody come give you something, tell you a lie, you gonna take it up. Even you know it's a lie, you still gonna do it. Even if you don't, you taking the risk of it. It's like our parents always told us, like, don't take candy from strangers. Don't listen what everybody say. And the Lord is trying to be a good father to tell us, like, everybody don't have the right intent for you, the right intentions, or a good, pure heart to want to see you prevail and be successful as a people.
What you're saying is the absolute truth. And if only we just had that understanding for who our oppressor was. Like we get the picture when we in the hood. We could see our brothers and our sisters in that light. We like, oh, you don't need to hang out with them. You need to be careful when you're around him or her. You know what I mean? When it's talking about our people, but we don't have that same sentiment for our oppressor. And that's why, you know what I mean, so many of our brothers and sisters is coming up missing, and they able to just rule it a suicide and wash their hands of it. And we get no justice. But if we want to get justice and we want to get the hell out of hell, we're going to have to understand and digest that your oppressor is the devil, period, point blank. Open and shut case. Everything, your oppressor is the devil. And everything that's wrong with the earth is because of your oppressor. So once we got that, we can just turn away from everything that he says and does. So we not affected by the flood of lies that come out of his mouth. We not tempted to drink the flood. You know what I mean? The earth is trying to swallow up the flood and help us, you know what I mean? Help us be able to reclaim our identity, improve our identity and culture. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean, before that, you know what I mean, for the earth to be able to help the woman, we're going to have, for the earth to be able to help us, we're going to have to not drink the water. You know what I mean? But with that, we're gonna go ahead and we'll pass the class to Precinct Officer Kahan Gabar for the security announcements. Give him a hand.
We have the Isupk started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10, means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashera, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We have the Day of Atonement, Salakia. We have the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets, Friday, September the 11th, 2026, Leviticus 23 and 24 through 6. Remind Akim and Akwaf to check the bulletin board in the hallway if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. That will conclude the ISBK security announcement.
With that, I Majum, which means to stand. We're gonna give a courtesy salute to brothers. Division Shabbat. I Majum, Rock, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh, Shabbat, Yadi Matar. Sorry, we'll turn to sisters. I Majum. Division Shabbat. I Majum, Rock, Yahweh, Shabbat, Shem Yahweh, Shabbat.
Because when I found this truth, guess what happened? I put my birthday away. When I found this truth, I put the drugs away. When I found this truth, I quit whoring my sisters. When I found this truth, I started becoming a better man and a better person. Because now I know I'm on that narrow path. Now I know I'm on a righteous path. Now I know what I'm doing is going to get me somewhere.